Thank you for tuning into this video. My name is Gia. So in today's video, I want to share with you guys about processing through, working through, and releasing our fear of being our authentic self, our true self. In my journey, I've learned that this is one of the most common fears that a lot of us hold, our fear of being who we truly are. For me, one of the most challenging fear-based beliefs was the fear of being not normal, the fear of being different, fear of being rejected per se. And this led me to not fully express myself and also disguise myself to a certain degree. And I've learned that this might come from our programmed subconscious beliefs. It can come from our childhood experiences, but it can also come from many of our past lives. And we're really here to release this fear so that we can shift into our authenticity, shift into expanding our consciousness and anchoring who we truly are. If you're drawn to this video, it's likely that you might have experienced a moment in your life where you really felt disconnected from this fear and really resonated from your heart, where you could be yourself. And because you have experienced this, you want to learn to anchor this down into your being fully. Or perhaps you're really struggling to be yourself and caught into that duality mind between being what is accepted by others and being yourself and taking that risk and seeing what happens. And I want to share some of the steps, some of the tips that I've been using to really work through this as well. So one of the things that you can really tune into to pick up on moments when you're resonating from the fear is to observe your ups and downs of your life. And when I say ups and downs, I'm talking about up and down in terms of your vibrational state. We might have moments or even days of experiencing joy, inner peace, really that anchoredness, connection with our true authenticity, flow. Later on, we might kind of bring ourselves back down to that vibration of self-doubt, the urgency to control and secure, lack of faith in ourselves, lack of trust in our life. And we often draw ourselves back to that lower vibration because we begin to tune back into that fear-based belief, the fear of being ourselves, fear of being our authentic self. So the first step that can really help us work through our fear is to actually acknowledge it. And when I say acknowledge it, I'm not simply talking about that intellectual statement that we make in our heads, oh, I know that I have difficulties being myself, but actually going deeper into aspects of your life where you actually had difficulties fully opening up to your true expression, deeper into thoughts that you were holding, beliefs that you were holding when you were interacting with a coworker, for example. Because a lot of the times, even though we do acknowledge intellectually that we have difficulties being our true authenticity, in real life situations, we might want to deny that, we might want to hide that. Also, there are some negative connotations that comes with exposing our fears. We can often be seen as weak, incompetent, powerless, losing control of our situation, of who we are. And all these programmed beliefs, subconscious beliefs, can really keep us from being able to acknowledge our fears and be a little bit more open towards it. The second point that I want to make is that no one and nothing will help you face and work through your fears. Drugs won't do it for you. Relationships won't help you face your fears. It's essentially going to be yourself that will need to face the fears. We often fall into that pattern of blaming other people, blaming our childhood, blaming our parents, blaming our work. Yes, these environments might have affected in terms of how we build our belief system. It's also important to acknowledge that, okay, then why did I choose to come into this environment? What is the lesson that I planned to learn when I came here? And from here, we can take more of an ownership of what we're trying to work through and the challenges that we have regarding fear, rather than drawing our energy to the external world and blaming our neighbors, blaming people around us. It's really time to be a little bit more vulnerable with ourselves, with different aspects of ourselves that comes from fear. You can sit down and write about it. You can find someone that can kind of listen to you, process your fears and your old beliefs from a non-judgmental stance. One down-to-earth way to start processing and releasing our fear of being our authentic self, our true self, is to take a look at specific aspects of your life where you feel that you can't be yourself. And one of the easiest way to pick up on these moments of your life where you feel not fully able to express your true self is when you notice your energy contracting. And ways that you can feel this is that you might feel discomfort, you might feel just kind of out of place in this environment, you might want to kind of leave the place, you might be tempted to hide the truth about yourself. The next step is to take a look at the belief that you're holding that's keeping you back from being your authenticity. For me, one of the strongest beliefs that I had that really kept me from being my authentic self was that if I am myself, then I won't be seen as normal. And of course, this normal was within my perspective gained from my own life experiences, which could be pretty limiting from this place of fear. But there might be other fear beliefs such as, oh, if I open up to my true expression, I will be misunderstood. Or, oh, I'm not ready to expose myself yet. I am not ready to be fully authentic with myself yet. There are different ways, different fear-based beliefs and statements that we tell ourselves over and over again that often keeps us from being able to open ourselves into true expression. So I encourage you to reflect on what your belief is. The next step is to reflect on the origin of that belief that you hold. This belief might come from our childhood, early childhood. It might be coming from many of our past lives. Also, we might not even know exactly where this belief, this fear-based belief is coming from. What's important about going a little bit deeper and reflecting on our beliefs is that it's not necessarily to find the answer, because sometimes it can be difficult to do that, but at least to get ourselves going deeper into these beliefs rather than merely externalizing it, blaming other people, blaming other situations, but going inwards to learn more about ourselves and our belief systems. The last tip that I want to share with you guys in terms of working through and releasing our fears is to raise your vibration. And what I mean by this is that we don't always have to expose ourselves to situations that would trigger our fears so that we can conquer it and work through them into releasing it. We can actually expose ourselves to situations in our lives where we feel inspired, where we can feel self-empowerment, self-love, self-acceptance, and actually learn to process and release our fears from that vibration as well. For example, when we look at children, let's say a child is getting bullied at school. For him, it might be a very devastating experience, especially when you're just beginning to have some relationships, some friendships as a young child. But as adults, because we have been exposed to relationships with people where you have felt love, acceptance, community, healthy communication. Even when we feel made fun of or get bullied per se, this experience does not necessarily take up the entire space in our mind because we have already experienced the vibration of love and understanding. So yes, we can definitely learn from exposing ourselves to situations that trigger us to feel that fear of being ourselves and work through it. But we can also release our fears and learn about our fears by exposing ourselves to that higher vibration that shows us what unconditional love is, that shows us what self-acceptance is, what a healthy community is, for example. So these are some information that I wanted to share with you guys. Thank you for tuning into this video. I would also like to hear from you in the comments below what your fear-based belief is that might be holding you back from being your true authenticity. Thank you for tuning into this video, and love and light your way.